Today is the 22nd day of the month of Kislev. We are in the middle of chapter 139 discussing the laws of Chanukah. Today we'll be doing paragraph 5 through paragraph 11. Paragraph 5. The first rule over here is not so practical for us. The Kislev says that if one uses an earthenware, some sort of clay menorah, you shouldn't use it night number 2 because the clay gets all disgusting from the oil and from the residue of the burning candle. Now the commentaries explain that if the menorah has a glaze on it, the clay has a glaze in it, like all clay menorahs would have nowadays, then it wouldn't be a problem. So this wouldn't be an issue for us nowadays. Some other types of menorahs that the Kislev mentions, which are beautiful, which are great to use every single night, is a menorah that's made out of metal. And he specifically mentions if you're able to afford a menorah made out of silver, then that's a beautiful thing because it's the menorah, we use a menorah for a mitzvah, so the more you can beautify the mitzvah, the nicer it is. Paragraph 6. We all know that on night number 1 of Chanukah, we light 1 candle, on night number 2, we light 2 candles, and so on and so forth. But who lights? Does everybody have to light? Does one person light? How does it work? So the Sephardic custom is that one person lights for the whole family. Usually it's the father of the family, and the house should have 1 menorah, and every night, the first night you light 1, second night light 2, etc. The Ashkenazi custom is that everybody in the house lights their own menorah, and that everyone lights 1 candle on night number 1, 2 candles on night number 2, and so on and so forth. The exception to this is a husband and a wife. Because a husband and wife are considered in many ways one unit, one body, so therefore they only need 1 menorah between the two of them. If they each want to light their own menorah, that's fine, but there's no need to. Paragraph 7. The real way to light a menorah, the real place rather to light a menorah, is in the doorway to the house, facing the street. The goal of the menorah is to publicize to the world the miracle which happened, and therefore if you do it by the door of the house, that's the way to publicize it to the world. We're supposed to do it when you're entering the house. It should be on the left side of the doorway, in the doorway on the left side. That way when you walk into the door of your house, you have a mezuzah on the right side, the menorah on the left, and you're surrounded by mitzvahs. However, over the centuries, the custom has become, because it was dangerous to have menorahs outside, the custom has become to light them inside. Initially, the custom was to light them inside on the table with the window shades closed, that the non-Jews don't see it and attack our homes because of our menorahs. But the whole goal is to publicize to other people the miracle which happened. How are you accomplishing that? So the way it works is that we're publicizing to our family, at least. Nowadays that we live in a society which lets us practice our religion, so outside Israel at least, the custom has become not to go back to the doorway, but at least do it by a window facing the street so that the public sees it, even if we're not doing it in the doorway itself. If you go to Israel, you'll see that in Israel they do it in the doorways, and they have these amazing glass cases. The problem is the wind could blow out the candles. They have these glass cases they put in. If you have a chance to visit Israel during Chanukah time, it's really a beautiful, beautiful sight, walking up and down the streets, seeing hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of menorahs, every single neighborhood packed, every doorway, every window possible, another menorah. It's really a beautiful, beautiful sight. Paragraph 8. If somebody is lighting in the doorway, then the height of the menorah is supposed to be placed between 3 handbreadths, 3 tvachim, and 10 handbreadths, 10 tvachim. Approximately between 9.5 inches to 11.4 inches. However, if you're lighting inside your house on your dining room table, or if you're lighting in the window, you do it at whatever height the table is, whatever height the window is. Paragraph 9. The candles of the menorah, or the wicks of the menorah, are all supposed to be equal height. You'll sometimes see a menorah which has like a diagonal going up the different heights of the candlesticks, of the stick which is where the candle's going into. That's not appropriate. That's not a halachically kosher menorah. All 8 candles or wicks are supposed to be along the same height in a horizontal line. You have to make sure that there's enough of a space between each wick or each candle so that if somebody is looking at it from a little bit far away, they notice, oh, there's 2 flames here. It's not 1 candle with 2 wicks. Especially with wax candles, points out the Kislev, you have to make sure they're not too close, that the heat from one candle causes the wax from the other candle to melt, because if you have too much heat going on over there, then the candles will melt, the wax will melt, and it'll become one globby, waxy mess instead of 8 individual candles. That would not be a kosher menorah. It's supposed to be clear how many candles you lit that night. So therefore, if you only have 1 menorah, but you have 2 people that have to light, and let's say the first night, so there's 8 slots to have candles at, you can't have one person you can't put in two candles, one for each person, and one person lights the first candle, one person lights the second candle right next to the first candle, because it looks like if somebody's looking from the window, they're looking in, and they don't know what happened. It looks like there's one person lit two candles. They don't realize that two different people lit one candle. The Mishnah Berurah points out you could do it on two different sides of the menorah. So for whatever reason, you only have one menorah, and it's the first night of Chanukah, you could have one person light one candle on the right side of the menorah, the other person light a candle on the left side of the menorah, because then somebody looking into the window, seeing the menorah, realizes, oh, there's two individual candles here. It must be two people each lighting one candle, not one person lighting two candles. Paragraph 10. How long do the candles have to burn for? How much oil do you have to put into your menorah if you're using oil? Or how large your candles have to be if you're using candles, how long do they have to last? So they have to last for at least half an hour after it's fully dark outside, after it's full night. We have two times in the evening, which are the beginning of the night. The first time is sunset, when the sun goes down. That's the first time. In Hebrew, it's called Shkia. The second time is when it gets fully dark. Then it's called Seis, when you can see three medium stars. It's dark enough that you can see three medium-sized stars. How long is it between sunset and that second time period is a discussion, and a lot of opinions about it. I recommend using the website, like I mentioned before, myzmanim.com. You put in your location. It will tell you when sunset is. It will tell you when it's nighttime, and it's fully nighttime. And so the menorah has to burn, the candles have to burn for at least for half an hour after it's fully dark, after the later time, after nighttime. Now, the question is, when's the earliest time to light? So do you have to light at that time at nighttime, what we call tseis, and then it goes for half an hour? Or should you light earlier and make sure there's enough oil in there to last for 45 minutes, like 15 minutes before, and make sure there's enough oil to last for 45 minutes? So if you lit when it was already fully dark, all you need is half an hour. But due to various halakha authorities, or Moshe Feinstein says that the best thing is to light around 10 minutes after sunset, and make sure that the oil lasts for around an hour. If you don't have enough oil, then you have to light later on. You have to light when it's fully dark, if you don't have enough oil for that. Or if you're using candles, and the candles won't last that long. If possible, it is best to daven Ma'ariv, to pray the evening service before you're lighting. If you could. If you can't, you can't. But if you could, that's best. And also, the menorah is supposed to have the whole family together. So the whole goal of it is to publicize the miracle. So you want everybody there to talk about it. It's a celebration. You want everybody there together celebrating and talking about this amazing miracle and doing this amazing mitzvah together of lighting the menorah. Now, let's say you're lighting really late at night and there's nobody around who's going to see it. Either say you're traveling, get back at 2 o'clock in the morning, the streets are empty. Either you have family at home, but they're sleeping already. There's no one around. So if there's nobody around to see the menorah, then you cannot make a blessing on lighting the menorah, because the whole goal is that people should see it. There's no one here to see it. You still should light it, but we don't make a blessing on it. If you're not going to be around later, you're traveling somewhere, then you can light the menorah even before sunset up to a time period called Plag HaMincha, a halachic hour and a quarter before sunset. Again, a halachic hour does not mean an hour 60 minutes. It means you take the sunlight hours, divide it into 12 parts, and each of those is a halachic hour. If you look on myzmanim.com, they'll have that time period there, which will say Plag HaMincha, that's the time. If you're ever in the scenario, then reach out to a rabbi who could help you figure out the exact time and the best time to light and how long the candles or the oil should last for. Paragraph 11. Which side of the menorah do you start from? So when you're facing the menorah, the first night you light the rightmost candle. The second night, you put in 2 candles on the right and the second to right, and you light the new candle first. The third night, you add one other candle to the left of those 2 candles, and you do that new candle first again. And so on and so forth until you get through all 8 nights. This concludes today's episode. Have a wonderful night, and see you tomorrow.